obviously a really good start, getting the first league game, getting a victory at home, going down to Somerset Park. That's going to be a different prospect though. What's your thoughts ahead of the game?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Obviously we came in good form after Saturday. Thought it was a really good performance from us. Good start, kind of perfect start for us. But Friday will be a completely different game again. Ayr are a good side. They've recruited well in the summer, so a tough game.
We obviously found form in the League Cup groups, and Ayr, despite not getting through, they had some good results in that group of their own. So it's two teams going in with a bit of momentum. Is it set up to be a cracker? Do you think it's going to be a bit cagey? What sort of match should the kind of watching supporter expect?
I think it'll be a good team. It's two good teams that will probably fancy themselves to do quite well this season, so I think it's got the makings of a really good, exciting game on the TV as well.
You'll be no stranger to Somerset Park, having played there a number of times last season included. What's it like down there?
It's good, I enjoy it. I quite like the games where it's quite cagey, as you said, like the stands are quite close to the pitch, their fans bring a decent enough atmosphere. I look forward to it.
It's been a few weeks now. We've had a number of competitive games with the League Cup on Saturday. How much are you enjoying it so far?
I'm loving it. It's everything that I wanted it to be coming here. Boys are brilliant, staff have been brilliant. I can't really say enough, I'm just really enjoying it.
We looked really good on Saturday. I know there was elements that we'll be wanting to improve upon, but not just the way we played with the ball. We seemed to stand up when we had to in the kind of feisty physical moments during the game as well. Did you enjoy the match?
I think that's going to be key. Game can be physical at times, so we need to step up to that when it happens. It's not just always going to be nice, pretty attractive football that we want to play, but we showed on Saturday that we can step up and mix it, so we'll just need to do more of the same with that.
And I suppose away from home, a venue like Somerset Park, that's going to be even more important that we were able to do that, exactly. Because we're not always going to have the big pitch that we're used to here.
Exactly. It's not always going to be, like you say, a big nice slick surface, so it's just about mixing it, changing the game up sometimes, and we're sure no more capable of doing that.
The squad itself, we've had a bit of turnover from last season. What's the bond like? I know it's early days, we're just into August, but what's the dressing room spirit like?
So far so good. I think a lot of the boys, well myself speaking, I know I already knew most of the boys coming in, so that kind of helps things. I think a lot of the boys were similar, so it's not as if you've got a team full of new boys that don't really know each other, so it's been fine. Everybody gets on well and we're having a good laugh in there.
We were speaking to Rhys about it being a Friday game and how that kind of means the training schedule gets juggled. Are you happy that it's the next game's so much quicker, it's a day earlier, or is it a bit weird having that kind of change to the schedule?
I think you can see it both ways. I think maybe the gaffer and the staff, they'd maybe like the extra day's training to maybe work on more stuff, but I think as players you'd rather just keep playing games. Myself speaking, I prefer when there's like a Tuesday, Saturday and you're just game to game, less training, but you can see both sides of it, but for me I'd rather just play the games.
It's funny, every time we speak to players about that last season, we had that period where we would have Tuesday games and Saturday games, and they were always saying how pleased they were because they're here to play football, not train.
Yeah, exactly. Friday game suits us a day closer, so looking forward to it.
A chance as well to get an early pace set in the league. I know it's ridiculously early for that kind of talk, but if we were to go and get back-to-back victories, what a message that would send out.
Like you say, it's a long season. Nothing's going to be dictated just now, but a good start could be crucial. We've seen that last year with teams that went on a good run and it stood them in good stead for the rest of the season, so hopefully we can do that.
You obviously scored against Dumbarton down there with the diving header, and then you must have been teaching Dylan McDonald because he's got a diving header on Saturday. Are you keen to get yourself up and running off the mark in the league?
Yeah, that's something that me and Gaffer and that have spoke about, adding more to my game, more goals, more assists, so hopefully I can do that this year.
Well, when you score on Friday, we'll take the credit.
Aye.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, thank you.
Rhys, obviously still everyone really pleased with the performance and result on Saturday. I suppose Friday, different prospect. Ayr get a really good win. What's your thoughts on that game going into Friday night?
Going away from home, first and foremost, so it'll be a difficult task. Like you said, they picked up a positive result, first game of the season. They've made a few additions as well over the summer, so we know it's going to be a tough game, but likewise, we're also going into the game full of confidence, and hopefully it sets up for a good entertaining game on Friday.
They've started well. One of the clubs that, despite getting a decent run of results in the League Cup, didn't get through, but still picked up wins, and then they've won that game at Hamilton, albeit after a red card. Have you had much time to assess the changes, if any, to their approach since Scott Brown's had a summer?
Obviously we've analysed the game and watched the kind of stuff back. Like you said, I think there's been a good bit of progression from them. If you look at in terms of where they finished and stuff last year, I think you can see the kind of ideas and the kind of patterns and the way that obviously Scott and his staff want to try and kind of put onto the team. They'll be a good side, they'll be tough to beat this season. Like I said, they've obviously brought in a few additions which should strengthen their squad, but likewise so have we, so I think it'll be a kind of tasty one Friday night under the lights as well on TV, so really looking forward to it. Two teams full of confidence coming off the back of a positive result.
We talked last week about how the good run of form we'd enjoyed over Wraith Rovers didn't mean anything going into Saturday. It worked out, being a repeat of that in the actual game, but I suppose the same logic applies, although we couldn't, no matter how hard we tried, get a result off Ayr last season. It's a brand new league campaign, so we can't really be taking that chip on our shoulders into the game, can we?
Nah, it means nothing. I know from an outside point of view and a supporter's point of view, you want to have that kind of bragging rights and understand it, but like you said, there's much more things in the game than focusing on kind of one team or a kind of bogey team and whatnot. You know, every team in this league's competitive and will provide kind of trouble to your team, so it's very important. Like you said, we get another positive result at Wraith, albeit probably more a kind of controlled performance. Still loads I think to come from us in terms of our offensive stuff, but limited them to no shot. I think it was a 40-yard shot at goal that Murray Johnson kind of put his cap on, and in the main kind of controlled the game and limited them to very few. But going away from home, expect a totally different kind of task. Obviously they've got a kind of new stand and obviously different surface, all this kind of thing, so being on TV as well should make for a cracker.
It's always regarded as a kind of tough place to go conditions wise and things like that, I suppose. It's what you get as a summer in Scotland. It might not necessarily be the most summery. We don't know what it'll be like on Friday night, but are you and the players prepared to maybe have to take a different approach than we might do out on our pitch?
Always are. You know, we weigh all these things up. We do our kind of analysis, we look back at the game previously, we'll watch ourselves and areas of our game that we think we can improve. We'll also watch the opposition, see where we think we can exploit and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and try and come up with a game plan like we do most weeks. Like you said, the good thing I think is obviously at this time of year, I think going up there kind of Christmas time and whatnot, previously played there myself, it's been kind of a tough kind of pitch, it's been a tough environment with the elements and stuff, but listen, this is as good a time as you're going to get. I'd imagine the pitch will be in excellent condition. It's one of the better grass pitches that I've played on, and like you said, it sets up for a cracker.
The game on Saturday was obviously a very fierce one. Everybody come through it okay? What's the kind of fitness situation like with the squad?
A few bumps and bruises again. A few boys kind of missed training kind of Monday, and obviously like Adam Frizzell took a hefty knock, and a few boys kind of pulling up with a bit of cramp and things like that. So we've got to kind of manage the squad as best we can. Try and make sure that, like you said, we've got one less day in our preparation time. So being the Friday night, it juggles your training load and your week about a little bit. So there's a few lads that we're hoping that are towards the end of the week, with information based stuff and our shape and all that kind of thing, are going to be back involved. Aaron Reid and a couple others are making good progression, doing kind of good intense kind of training work with the physio and stuff, so trying their utmost to get back and available for the squad. And in terms of everything else, it's more a case of we'll take it kind of day by day, see how the boys are, but one thing they are is they're professional. They come in and they do their recovery, they do their rehab, they look after their bodies as best they can, and come the end of the week we'll see where the squad lies.
You kind of hint at it there, it is still early in the week, but how's Lewis recovered from having to come off on Saturday?
Again, I don't think I'm kind of speaking out of turn here. I think obviously my thought and his thought, having kind of spoken to the physio and whatnot, was he come through training and come through the kind of correct protocols and kind of targets and whatnot that he needed to meet for him to come back into training. Hence the reason we put him in the squad. And obviously he felt really good, so it wasn't like he was carrying the knock and we've put him on and It's just one of these unfortunate things, possibly a bit too soon. So we're looking at a kind of minor hamstring grade strain. So maybe looking at a couple of weeks for him. And like Aaron Reid was a couple of weeks, obviously with a little bit of ankle ligament damage, but he's back in training ahead of schedule, so all good.
I think it's notable the options that you've got in the squad in the midfield area, in all areas really, but one that we've not been able to see anything of yet is Liam McStravick. How's Liam getting on in his rehabilitation from obviously what was a bad injury picked up in the cup final? He's
doing really, really well. Obviously he's back home, part of the kind of rehab process and stuff for him is that he's obviously done his ACL, so he requires surgery, and he's obviously going to be out potentially for kind of 9 months. So it's important, after he got his kind of operation, he's been rattling through his rehab back home after the kind of consultant and surgeon have given him a plan going forward. So back home, having that little bit of time with kind of family, getting the chance to go a little holiday, a little break, because mentally it can be tough, especially on a younger player who just kind of started to show kind of the real Liam McStravick. But he's ahead of schedule. He's flying. He's determined. You know, he's in constant dialogue with myself and staff and all the boys. So in the near future, you'll probably see him come back and be more part of the kind of the match day kind of squad, just with being in and around the place. But like I said, for me, this moment in time, the main focus is obviously in his rehab. I'm not too fussed if he's going to be supporting the boys from the stands on a Saturday. I would much rather that he use the time kind of wisely and correctly, and when that time comes, hopefully in the near future, not too far away, that he'll be able to come and support the boys from the side and give the supporters a wee buzz back, knowing that he's on the mend and he's not a million miles away.
I suppose knowing him the way that he is, he'll be keen to be back involved as quickly as he possibly can. So I suppose it's just being sensible and helping him be sensible and not get too eager, and also not get too downhearted that these things take time, but the time it takes is worth it in the long run.
Listen, I'm speaking probably out of turn here. I've never suffered a serious kind of injury that'll kind of require 6 to 9 months or any kind of thing in that time frame. But I think the big part as well, obviously we have Jill, our sports psychologist, who a lot of the kind of injury and Groundhog Day, being in the gym, doing your rehab, it can be very repetitive. It can kind of play a wee bit on players. You hear stories now about their kind of mental health and how they recovered. They were in kind of dark places and stuff as well. So we've just got to make sure that we try and keep the environment here. We try and keep him as happy, and listen, he's a clever boy. He understands that it's not a great time, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and he's ahead of schedule. He's doing really well. That's been a few months now since the final, so he's rattling through his kind of programme, every kind of checkpoint and every kind of follow-up meeting and consultation that we've had with the surgeon and stuff. He's been delighted, so that's pleasing for us. And like I said, I'm not too overly concerned that he's wasting time to come in and do nothing on a match day. I would rather use his time for his own sake. If there's things that he can do in terms of swimming and getting on with his rehab thing, then I would much rather have done that so that he's back available sooner rather than later.
Supporters are all very excited about how the season started, League Cup and obviously Saturday, good turnout from the home crowd. Are you keen to see them down in number at Somerset to try and help kind of build on that momentum?
Aye, but I think like you said, the key word there is momentum. I think if you go into the season with a kind of negative and a kind of start that you're a supporter, you're looking going, I don't know where the club's going, I don't know where the team's going, they don't quite look at it. That's down to us as players and as kind of manager and staff. Is we've got to try and put a performance and put a side and put a kind of team together and a squad, assemble a squad that's going to entertain and try and encourage these fans to come and watch us. We've done that since the moment we came in, and we'll continue to do that for as long as I'm here. So it's one of the ones that we've had a positive start. So I'd like to think that going away from home, it's a wee away day for the supporters. Hopefully it's a nice evening that we're not going to be standing there in the lashing rain, and we'll see where we go.
The only other thing I was going to ask you is, you talked about squad assembly. We're still in the transfer window. Are you happy enough with the business so far? Still looking, still thinking about it? What's the situation?
We're still actively looking, we always are, and like I said, I think it's clear in terms of there's a few specific kind of positions and people that I want, but it takes a little bit of time, and I'd love to be standing here announcing I got every single one of my targets. I got every single player that said, yeah, I want to go and sign for you, Rhys, and I want to go and sign at Airdrie. But unfortunately, football's a kind of cruel game sometimes. There's other kind of teams that are interested. There's different obstacles that you have to overcome. Sometimes you have to be a wee bit patient, and I think we've shown that. And from the kind of outside and the supporters' point of view, I think you look at the kind of players that we've brought in. I always say we go for quality. We're not just going to bring in someone to appease the fans because we need a certain position. So we've got to make sure it's the right one, because like I said, it's got to be for the best interest of the club moving forward, and obviously they've got to improve the squad of what we currently have. So still actively looking. There's a few certain positions that again we're kind of close, and I'd like to think we'll be even closer in maybe the end of the week and coming weeks. So we'll wait and see, but football can change in 24 hours, as you've seen. There's loads of kind of drama and things can happen in a short space of time as football.
Full focus then on Friday night.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Rhys, thank you very much.
Cheers.